series point or match point. So you've got both players loading in. Let's pop that away. So down in the bottom corner we have TheRefoh as the red Greek player. In the top corner we have Vindicator as the blue Babylonian. Don't worry about bloody resigning. They'll flip out and think I'm leaving. So Vindicator clearing his first hunt. TheRefoh, it doesn't look as though he's actually seen one yet. Arabia is one of the harder maps for coming across hunts. So TheRefoh taking his woodline already. Vindicator moving on down to the hunt to start with. TheRefoh just sort of scanning up the top side, just spotting where really his expansion would be. Vindicator's already had a bit of a look at the gold. He's heading around, sort of spotting his expansion berries. Another point there. Should be one either here or around here somewhere. So Vindicator's searching still up towards the north, spotting another berries and gold. TheRefoh's scanning out over here. So TheRefoh's still on the berries. Vindicator has 5 workers on his hunt. Vindicator's moving on to his woodline now, while TheRefoh is already there. And TheRefoh is looking at getting his stone already. Vindicator is rallying his workers there. A little bit behind, but it won't be too much of a difference, I don't think. Vindicator actually is slightly ahead on workers at the moment. Maybe because of the ox carts, just with slabs. So just give me another house. Vindicator still just gathering. Yeah, neither player really actually had a chance to scout one another yet. TheRefoh's coming in and he's going to see this hut being taken. Meanwhile down here, Vindicator looking at the TC, seeing the stone line. Black line's up here at the top. So Ziggurat coming out from Vindicator. TheRefoh still just producing villages and gathering. Oh. I think he sort of caught a bit of a lull here. It's got a bit. How long is the restart? Okay, so sorry guys, I'll just be one quick sec. Let's see what it's for. Only within the first 2 minutes. What the fuck do we do now? Is your villager actually still stuck? Is it that one at the... Oh, okay. Alright. Okay. Damn. I'm already going to be a match official. I did not anticipate this. Okay. Actually, yeah, it's unstuck. Okay. Well, poor old TheRefoh had a villager stuck there. so that might cost him a little bit, but I think he's just opting to play on. Yeah, sweet. So looks like he's happy with that. Vindicator just shy of the stone he needs. TheRefoh just looking to shift his workers across. He's got his resources already. So TheRefoh has just moved his villagers up here to take this GC up here. Vindicator's doing largely the same. They're a bit north of your starting base, but on a map like Arabia where the rush distance is actually quite large, it's fairly common for people to expand up here or back here on both sides of the map. It's more uncommon, but sometimes people even expand all the way up the side, but usually not quite at this level of play unless they're really opting for some sort of cheese or proxy. So anyway, TheRefoh is getting his wood upgrade. Vindicator already has it. You keep that scout alive, little fella. So both players still just macroing up at this stage. Although Vindicator is looking to get the stables. And a fairly late hunting dogs, which is a little interesting. But I suppose he's expanding onto another hunt, where it looks like TheRefoh is just opting for berries. He hasn't actually taken any hunts at this stage. His food economy has purely been run off the berries, and he has taken that second gold rather than taking the gold in his main. Vindicator doesn't. Looks to be doing the same. But it looks like Vindicator is actually pushing up to take a third hunt. TheRefoh Scout's actually just dying just up to the elephant, just shy of there. Vindicator still has his scout alive, so we've got Vindicator that's in the stables. He's building a second of his own. Now, TheRefoh, meanwhile, does not actually see the stables. There is a second stables coming out here from TheRefoh himself, just as Vindicator's is finishing up. TheRefoh's actually a little bit behind in terms of worker count. 6. I suppose 3 or 4 of those might be ox carts, but he's got a couple of Saris. There's a Lancer here from Vindicator, although he doesn't seem to be building any more just yet. Scout here. Oh no, here we go. Here's his other 2 Lancers. The Saris coming in here. TheRefoh looking to try and get some scouting information, also then actually take a fight here in the mid-map and then just maybe try and get this, engage this hunt. No. The Lancers are still milling around the map. Now the Saris have actually engaged the villagers, just forcing them back off that hunt. Vindicator just throwing up the villagers. There's no actual villagers coming out from TheRefoh at the moment. I think he's a little bit food starved. Needs to get these villagers over here or look at expanding on a hunt or maybe even a pond. Yeah, Vindicator, he's got units sort of streamed all over the map. There's 3 Lancer versus 2 Sari, and from what I know, the Lancers should beat them one-on-one. So it looks like he's just going to win that little trade there. Pick one of them. Looks like he has lost one of his Lancers to a lion. That might cost him. So anyway, it looks like Vindicator is shaping up to Age 3, get his third TC out. Try and get the macro edge over Refo. He is streaming his lances around, trying to get this one last low Sari. Well, that looks like the Sari's just going to come straight back into Refo's base, and he's got some more here to try and keep alive with. Vindicator has reached the third age. Refo's still on the second for now. So it looks like he has sniped that Sari. He's got some more lances coming in here, try and put some pressure on. Split the Saris up, try not to let them get in a ball where they actually can sort of pick off the lances before they've even engaged. Because the critical mass with the range units is what really makes a difference with them a lot of the time, being able to one-shot or two-shot enemy units on the field. So he's sort of just stringing everything back right now. Looking to just try and up his Lancer count and get a good engagement. Looks like he's trying to turn this fight now. So it's got 6 to 8 cavalry for both players on the field at the moment. Yeah, 7 of each. So we'll have to see how this pans out. This one's quite low here. Just a 4. So we've got 6 versus 6 at the moment. So they do manage to take a kill each. Vindicator's taking his third TC now. Refo is still stuck in Age 2 for the time being, but he's going into Age 3. He's not that far off the zone needed for his third TC, so he's a little behind, but I don't think he's down and out truly yet. He's actually got the bigger Sari count than the Lancer count. It's actually double, but they've just run straight past one another. It'd be good to actually fight that, and then he could have even seen that, but it looks like he's actually going to see the workers and go for all them. Yeah, so he's going to pinch a couple of workers here, but over here, the Lancers all milling around. There's no actual workers over there because the hunt's already been farmed. So, got all these Lancers. Only 6 versus 13 Saris. So this could be a little bit costly for Vindy. His fighting forces being chipped away at constantly by the Sarasophae, who are all ranged, whereas the Lancers, they're all melee. So some are being chipped away at, but there are some mounted archers here, the Age 3 Babylonian. Age 3? They might be Age 2. Yeah, they are Age 2. But anyway, the ranged cavalry coming out from the Babylonian player. Vindicator's actually warming off already, so he's in a good position with his economy. He's got that third TC up already. Although Refo's is coming up now, so the gap wall that's there isn't really that wide. And Vindicator's got these 11 Lancers, 12 Saris, and there's a whole bunch of Toxodai, and a couple of Prodmos, who are really what you need to try and fight your opponent's cavalry as a Greek. Because Saris, as much as you can chip away your opponent with the range, realistically they are countered by every other Civ's H2 cavalry in a straight up fight. But this could be a little bit costly here because Refo's streaming a whole bunch of units across. I think Vindicator has realised he's streaming over some units of his own. A whole bunch of mounted archers over here, a couple of lancers, and a couple more mounted archers. And he's got a proxy siege workshop up here, looking to try and knock out a town centre of Refo's. But Refo's actually managed to sneak a whole bunch of units here, all his 12 Saris, straight over that wall of Vindicators that never actually got finished. So Vindicator having to rally a whole bunch of units, and meanwhile over the other side of the map he's sending in a whole bunch of cavalry, 20 units, try and force off what he can over this side of the map. But over here on in Vindicator's base, Refo's streaming through, pushed a whole bunch of workers away and forcing all units back from Vindicator, but we'll have to see if he can hold here. Meanwhile, back down on his own base, he's managed to force all the units of Refo's in the TC, and he's pulling back. So both players harassing with their cavalry, but not taking a whole lot of losses, doing a bit of a hit and run style. Here we see TheRefoh trying to chip away at what he can of Vindicators. Caught him in a bit of a pincer movement here, but does he have the unit count to actually really wipe all these forces out? No, he doesn't look like he does just yet, and Vindicator's managing to turn all the way around, snipe a couple of units, and pull back out quite safely. Down over here on the other side of the map, he's actually got a whole bunch of cavalry again, so he's actually got 4 stables and 5 from TheRefoh. So both players are playing an extremely stables-heavy composition each, with only a couple of range units coming from TheRefoh, I think. But there's all these units here, all these range cavalry here, chipping away at the workers in TheRefoh's main base. There's some more Tuxedo heading across of TheRefoh's. He needs to get them back or push them up into his opponent's base, because when they're out there in the middle of the field, they're not really doing a lot. But he does have a reasonable number of Saris here in Pro Mode, but he's just sort of moved them off to the side rather than rallying them onto a couple of the units. So this could be good for Vindicator, really getting a good vision of his opponent's base, putting him under a lot of pressure. He's still streaming units through, sniping workers where he can, forcing workers away. The worker count's 95 versus 57, so he's really started to open up the lead now. His units constantly hitting and running, taking good fights and getting out. There's not a lot TheRefoh seems to be able to do to respond at the moment. And his market line's actually all been spotted. He's just having units being chipped down one by one. While over here, some workers of TheRefoh's are being forced off the gold mine. Or is he going to spot that siege tower? He will spot the siege tower, but Vindicator's going to try and push in with it. Just try and convince his opponent that he's got more there than he actually has, because he doesn't actually have a whole lot of units there, because the rest are over here. So realistically, with this army count, TheRefoh could make it quite a good fight. It's just, I suppose the problem is that he's relatively undefended over this side of the map. So does he want to go for it? So he's going to try and go in, try and get the siege tower before it actually does any damage. But these are quite tanky, so he's going to lock up a lot of supply doing that. Meanwhile, over here on the other side of the map, all these units are coming in, hopefully trying to get some more workers in the wood line. TheRefoh's sort of caught up here on the hill. Bit of bad paving trying to get to these units from his opponent because he doesn't actually have a gate. But anyway, down here in his base, Vindicator's got a whole bunch of cavalry streaming down towards his worker line, picking off some more workers. And up on the top side, he's chipped through the gate and backing off there. He's going to lose another siege tower, but he's well ahead at this point. TheRefoh's under quite a lot of pressure, being forced off this wood line. Where's he actually getting wood from? Oh, he's getting wood from his expansion. So there's another fight going on down here inside TheRefoh's base. The cavalry of Vindicator slowly being chipped away at. But there's just not enough coming in at once to really kill any of them. TheRefoh's just seems to be losing more to it than he's getting out of this, even with the defender's advantage of his TC. He's really only got 2 or 3 Saris at once, and it's just not enough to defend against. Mounted archers. So there's 7 mounted archers as well as 10 lancers. So there's 17 cavalry there. It's pretty much one-shotting anything that's popping out, putting an awful lot of pressure on this main base of Vindicators. But meanwhile, up here on the top side, TheRefoh's actually managed to catch out a whole bunch of workers going for gold. But Vindicator's got a huge bank now. And he's still pushing through, trying to take houses, trying to do what damage he can inside his opponent's base. And he sent some cavalry across to deal with this ranged and Sari ball. And they seem to be doing quite a lot of work, because these mounted archers are just picking through everything. GG, TheRefoh resigns. That's a tough fought game from him. He hung in there. I think longer than most people would have in that situation. And he did actually manage to chip away a fair few of Vindicator's workers towards the end of the game. I just think that pure stables comp from Vindicator really did a lot of work and paid off for him.